Okay, student will start refraction of light. Now, first of all, you have already done in class 8 the basic of refraction. What is refraction of light? Refraction of light actually means that the changing or the bending in the path of light when it travels from one optical medium to another optical medium. That means what? Generally we know that light travel in a straight line path. Now suppose if it is air, now light always travel in a straight line path in a particular medium. So that means it is air. Now as long as light is passing through air, it will travel straight. But when light travels from one medium to another medium, and suppose it is water, then what happens? There is a bending in the path of light. Actually, this is the original path of the light. Now, if I imagine that there is a normal, is a perpendicular, like imaginary line, then you can say this is the incident ray and this is the original path of the light. But when ray of light travel from one medium to another medium, it will not follow this path. It will bend from this path. Now it can bend either towards normal or it will bend away from normal. Okay, that I will explain you later. But the thing is that light will bend. Now in this case the light will bend in this way. That means it will bend towards normal. So that means whenever the light travels from one medium to another medium, there is a change in path of light. There is a bend in light, and this phenomenon is called refraction. Okay. Now, what do you mean by optical medium? Just now I have told you optical medium means that the medium through which light can pass. So that means you can say it's transparent medium. Now it is there can be an optically rarer medium and there can be an optically denser medium. Now what we see as optically rarer medium? Optically rarer medium means the medium in which the speed of light increases, and so optically denser medium means in which the speed of light decreases. That means if the speed of light is increasing when it is entering a particular medium, then we say that the light has entered a rarer medium. And if the speed of light decreases than before, then we say that the light has entered a denser medium. In fact, this rarer medium and denser medium are there with respect to each other. Rarer medium or denser medium depends upon the other medium. I mean to say for example, you say this is air, water, and this is glass. Now speed of light in air is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Speed of light in water is 2.25 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. And speed of light in glass is 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Okay. Now suppose this is air and this is water. Now when ray of light travels from air to water, now speed of light is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second in air. But as soon as it enters water, its speed decreases. And therefore it bends towards normal like this. So now the speed of light in water is this. Okay. Now with respect to air and water, what can we say? We can say that air is a rarer medium and water is a denser medium. Why? In air the speed of light is this 3 into 10, and as soon as it enters water, its speed decreases, and therefore we say water is a denser medium with respect to air. Okay. Now conversely, if you think if light travels from water to air, now water again the speed is 2.25 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, and now when it is entering to water, its speed is increasing. It will become 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. then we can say that light has entered a rarer medium because its speed is increasing. So finally you can understand, with respect to air and water, we can say air is rarer and water is denser, right? Now take another example. Now suppose this is water and this is glass. Now in water, what is the speed of light? It is 2.25 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. And in glass, its speed will decrease and it is 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So when ray of light is entering from water to glass, its speed is decreasing, and therefore we say glass is a denser medium and water is a rarer medium. Understand? Now you can see here that with respect to water and glass, water is a rarer medium and glass is a denser medium. Okay, understand? But again you see here, with respect to air and water, now water is denser medium and air is rarer medium, and that is what I told you, that if this rarer and denser depend upon light is traveling from which medium to another medium. It always depends with respect to each other. So that's called optical medium. And in fact, this is the basic cause of refraction. The third point we should know is the cause of refraction. So this is the main cause of refraction, is that the speed of light is different in different medium. And whenever the light travels from one medium to another medium, either its speed decreases from before or its speed increases from before. And therefore the light does not follow the original path, it bends. Understand? How it bends? Now suppose this is air and this is water. Okay, now let me note this first. Now whenever a ray of light travels from a rarer medium to denser medium, rarer suppose air and denser suppose glass, then whenever a ray of light travels from a rarer to denser medium, its speed decreases. Now since its speed decreases, it bends towards the normal. Towards the normal means what? Now this is the incident ray. Now you can say this is the original path of the light. So this ray of light will bend inward. That means it will bend towards the normal. So this is normal, this is 90 degree. So it will bend towards the normal like this. So it bends in this way. So you understand? Because the speed is decreasing. So since the speed is decreasing, the displacement of light for the same time will be less now, and therefore it is taking the shorter path. So you can understand it is bending towards the normal. So that is the first case, that whenever a ray of light travels from a rarer to denser medium, it always bends towards the normal. And in this case, now if I say this is I, angle of incidence, this is angle of refraction. So whenever a ray of light travels from a rarer to denser medium, I is always greater than R, or that means the angle of refraction is always shorter than the angle of incidence. Okay, so that's the point number one. Now point number two, whenever a ray of light travels from a denser to rarer medium, now suppose if it is traveling from glass to air, so that means it is traveling from denser to rarer medium. So this is the ray of light, this is the normal. Now glass, the speed is 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Now as soon as it travels from glass to air, it will bend away from normal. So this is the original path of the light. So light will, in this case, the speed is increasing, so its displacement will be more, and then hence it bends away from normal like this. So it bends here. So this is the incident ray here. And this is the refracted ray, so it is bending away from, this is the original path, it is bending away from normal, And if I say this is angle I, and then I say this is angle R, this is angle R, okay. So now in this case what we can see that R is greater than angle of incidence. So angle of refraction is greater than the angle of incidence when a ray of light is traveling from a glass to air. Okay. And the third point is that if a ray of light falls normally to a surface of separation, say suppose this is medium 1 and this is medium 2. Now whether it's from rarer to denser or denser to rarer, no matter, if a ray of light falls normally to the surface, that means perpendicular to the surface of separation, it always travel undeviated. So in that case no refraction takes place, light travel in straight path. So I can say this is the incident ray and this is the refracted ray and this is the normal itself, and therefore the angle between the incident ray and the normal is 0 and the angle between the refracted ray and normal is 0. So that means I can say angle of incidence equals to angle of refraction is 0 in this case. So that is the third case. Understand? Okay, next is the laws of refraction. Now suppose this is medium 1 and this is medium 2. So you can understand medium 1 means the medium in which the incident ray is there, and medium 2 means the medium in which the refracted rays are there. Now suppose a ray of light, this is the ray of light traveling and this is the normal. And suppose it is bending in this way, so this becomes the angle of incidence and this becomes the angle of refraction. Okay. Now suppose this is medium 1, suppose it is air and suppose it is glass, so that means rarer to denser. Now what the law states? It states first of all the incident ray, the normal and the refracted ray, they all lie on a same plane. So they lie on a same plane. Understand? So that means what? Suppose if the incident ray is on this plane, then the refracted ray will also in the same plane. It's not that the incident ray is in this plane and the refracted ray will be in any other plane. Got it? So that means they should be in the same plane. So if this is the incident ray, then this will be the refracted ray. They should act on the same plane, and so the normal. So the incident ray, the normal and the refracted ray, they should lie all on the same plane. So that's the first law. And the second law states that the sign of angle of incidence bears a constant ratio with the sign of angle of refraction. And this constant is known as the refractive index. So this 1 mu 2, so this mu, this symbol is called mu, and this mu represents the refractive index. So this 1 mu 2 means it is the refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. So what do you mean by this? That means the sign of angle of incidence and the sign of angle of refraction, the ratio between them is always constant, and the value that we get, that constant value, that is known as the refractive index. Now refractive index of which medium? Refractive index of the second medium with respect to first. Okay. Now let us give you an example. Now try to understand. Suppose this is a certain angle I and this is a certain angle R. Say let this be 40 degree and let this be 30 degree. Okay. Now let us find. Now the first medium is air and the second medium is glass. So when I find sine 40 degree by sine 30 degree, in trigonometry you have some values, so we'll put the value of sine 40 and we'll put the value of sine 30, and after doing calculation and all we'll get approximately, we will get approximately 1.5. 1.5. Now take another example. Now what I have done, I have shifted the angle of incidence, means the incident ray. Let us say, suppose I have increased the angle of incidence to 50 degree, and therefore this angle of refraction also changes. Say it becomes now 36 degree. Now again if I get sine 50 degree suppose and sine 36 degree, and if I again put the values of this and again if I calculate, again I will get 1.5 approx. So that is the meaning of constant. So the 1 due to this is the constant, the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the ratio of sine of angle of refraction is always constant. That is constant. And if I change again, say suppose I take a different values, and again if I get say sine 60 by sine 40, again if I get the values and put the values, again I will get approximately 1.5. So you can understand, every time I am getting 1.5. Now why I am telling 1.5? Because this is known as the refractive index. This is the refractive index of glass. Now why it is the refractive index of glass? Because the glass is the second medium, but it is refractive index of glass with respect to air. So we write like this, A mu G. So A mu G means refractive index of glass with respect to air. So you understand, the refractive index of glass with respect to air. So that means it is the refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. So this is the second law of refraction. I hope all of you understood it. So again I am repeating what it states, that the ratio of the sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is always constant, and this constant is known as the refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. So here in case I have given an example of air and glass. So the first medium is air and the second medium is glass. Now when I get sin I by sin r of this combination, I will always get the refractive index of glass with respect to air. Understand? So that is and this second law of refraction is known as Snell's law. Okay, so this second law is known as Snell's. Okay, next is absolute refractive index. Now absolute refractive index means when the refractive index with respect to air. So this is refractive index of any medium with respect to air, we say it is absolute refractive index. For example, you remember just now I told you A mu G means what? A mu G means it is refractive index of glass with respect to air, and that is equal to how much? 1.5 approximately. Now instead of saying that refractive index of glass with respect to air, we can simply say that absolute refractive index of glass is 1.5. So that automatically means it is refractive index with respect to air. Now we have another definition of absolute refractive index. Absolute refractive index is also the ratio of the speed of light. Speed of light in air or vacuum to the speed of light in that medium, to the speed of light in that medium. So this is also the definition of absolute refractive index. For example, if I say absolute refractive index of glass, we will write like this. So absolute refractive index of glass means speed of light. Speed of light in air or vacuum by speed of light in glass. So speed of light in air to the speed of light in glass. Okay. So for say we know this 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, and this will be 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So finally you can see that the refractive index of glass, absolute refractive index, is coming to be 1.5, that is 1 approximately. So similarly we can also calculate refractive index of any medium with respect to any medium. Okay, so refractive index in terms of speed of light. So you can understand EMU G means refractive index of glass with respect to air. So that means speed of light in air to the speed of light in glass. Now and that means 1 mu 2 means what? 1 mu 2 means refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium, and therefore I can also say that 1 mu 2, that means refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium will be what? Speed of light in medium 1 to the speed of light in medium 2. So speed of light in medium 1 to the speed of light in medium 2, that is the refractive index of any other medium with respect to the other second medium. Understand? Okay, now these are the three characteristics of light: velocity, wavelength and frequency. Now during refraction of light, what happens? The velocity and wavelength, these two depends upon the medium through which light is passing. And since the medium is changing, say medium 1 and medium 2, the medium is changing, so its velocity is also changing, you have seen. And since its velocity is changing, its wavelength is also changing, because both of these velocity and wavelength depend upon the medium. So now this is the incident ray and this is the refracted ray. The velocity of this ray and the wavelength of this ray and the velocity of this and wavelength of this will be different. But the frequency of light depends upon the source of light, and hence this frequency remains constant. This frequency remains constant. So that is the reason velocity is directly proportional to wavelength, and where f is constant, and therefore when we convert this proportion into equals to, we get frequency as constant. And you have already done in class 9 that velocity is equal to frequency into wavelength, where frequency remains constant and these two changes. So wavelength changes, the velocity also changes. So during refraction of light, the velocity of light and the wavelength of light changes because they depend upon the medium. But the frequency of the light does not changes because the frequency of light depends upon source. Now suppose this ray of light is coming from a torchlight or say sunlight. So the source is sun. So the sun is the source. So if the source is same, so this ray of light, the source is this, and this ray of light, the source is this. So source is not changing. So understand, the velocity and wavelength changes due to the change in medium, but the frequency does not change. It remains constant because the frequency depends upon source. Understand? So very important question. This is also very important question. You should know. Okay, next is the factors affecting the refractive index. of a medium. In fact, refractive index depend upon the nature of the medium, depend upon the physical conditions of the medium, but most importantly, it depends upon the wavelength of light. So you can understand how that greater the wavelength of light, less is the refractive index of the medium, and hence less will be the deviation. So that means if a particular ray of light, the wavelength is greater the wavelength, its refractive index become less, and hence less is the deviation. And you can understand that wavelength of red light, okay, wavelength of red is greatest, highest. Now compared to the wavelength of violet is minimum. So red light, we can say that for red light, wavelength of red is maximum and wavelength of violet is minimum, and therefore red deviates least because its refractive index is least, and violet deviates most. So understand, greater the wavelength, less is the refractive index, and therefore less will be the deviation, and hence for red light has a maximum wavelength, and therefore it deviates least, and violet has a minimum wavelength, is deviates most. And that's the reason you can understand red light scatter least, and hence red light can be seen from very far, and therefore that red light is generally associated to a danger signal. This you will learn in spectrum about that scattering of light, and hence you can see that the violet light, the blue light, they generally scatter most, and it is due to this reason that the sky appears to be blue. So that in the later part of this light part there is a chapter called spectrum, so we will learn in that part. So I am not going in description now. So that is about this. So understand, very important, wavelength, greater the wavelength, less is the refractive index and less is the deviation. So for red light, the wavelength is maximum, so its refractive index is least and therefore deviates least. Violet, the wavelength is minimum and it deviates most. Okay. Okay, next is principle of reversibility of light. Now, according to this principle, the path of the light is always reversible. That means, suppose this is medium 1 and this is medium 2. And this is the ray of light entering from 1 to 2. Again, this is the normal. So, say this is O, this is A, and this is B. So if ray of light is traveling from 1 to 2, it is following this path. So AO, this is the incident ray, and this is the refracted ray in the medium 2. So when ray of light travels from 1 to 2, suppose it is following this path. Now imagine if the ray of light, now if this is the incident ray, say light is going back, then the light will follow this path only. So that means if the incident ray is along this path, then the refracted ray will also follow this path. So this is the principle of reversibility of light, understood? Now we can have a relationship between the refractive index of these two medium. How? Now suppose this is I and this is R. So that means first case, when light entering from medium 1 to medium 2. Now when light entering from medium 1 and medium 2, what I told, let this angle be I and let this angle be R. So we can say that angle of incidence is I and angle of refraction is R. And now if I get sine of angle of incidence divided by sine of angle of refraction, I will get the refractive index. And I will get the refractive index of each medium and get the refractive index of second medium with respect to first. So this is say refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. Okay, so let it be number 1. Now, again I told you that if the ray of light follows this path, then it will exit in this path. So now again in the second case, if now the ray of light is passing from B to O and then O to A. Now this becomes the incident ray, now this becomes the incident ray, and this becomes the refracted ray, this becomes the refracted ray now. Now this angle becomes the angle of incidence and this angle becomes the angle of refraction. So in the second case, that is when light is traveling from medium 2 to medium 1. In this case, what is the angle? Angle of incidence. The angle of incidence is this. So it is R now, and angle of refraction is I now. Understand? Okay? So that's the angle of incidence is equal to R and angle of refraction is equal to I now. Now if I want to get the refractive index of sin I by sin R, sin of angle of incidence means R sin R and sin of angle of refraction means means I. Now you can understand, now this medium is the first medium and this medium is the second medium. So in fact we can say it is 2 mu 1. So it's the refractive index of the second medium, first medium with respect to second medium. So this is number 2. Now if I multiply this 1 and 2, so multiplying 1 and 2, what I get? I get 1 mu 2 into 2 mu 1 equals to sin I by sin R into sin R by sin I. And finally what we get? We got 1 mu 2 into 2 mu 1 equals to 1. And therefore I can say that, say 1 mu 2 is 1 by 2 mu 1. Or we can also say 2 mu 1 is equal to 1 by 1 mu 2. Understand, we got this relation. So that means what? The refractive index of one medium with respect to another medium is always the reciprocal to each other. That means what? So reciprocal to each other, so we can understand. See, now this is say glass and this is air. Now when I get, this is medium 1 now. When a ray of light here, air is medium 1 and glass is medium 2. So when I get sin I by sin R, then I get refractive index of second medium with respect to first, and therefore that is, I can say that A mu G, what I will get? I will get 1.5, refractive index of glass. So let us see 1.5, that's 3 by 2. And when glass become the first medium and air become the second medium, so in this way, in that case, if I get the refractive index, I get G mu A. G mu A, I get 2 by 0.67. So that is the meaning. So that means if I know A mu G is 3 by 2, that means G mu A will be reciprocal of that 2 by 3. And hence the refractive index of glass with respect to air is 1.5, and therefore refractive index of air with respect to glass is 2 by 3, and that is actually 0.67. So this is the significance of principle of reversibility of light. Okay. Now next is the effects of refraction in daily life. Effects of refraction in daily life means due to refraction there are some natural phenomena we can see, like twinkling of stars. A stick appears to be bent when it is partially immersed in water, in a liquid. Not only stick, our body also appears to be bent. Stars appears to be twinkling. Now first let us see. And similarly a coin appears to be raised up. Now suppose this is the coin. But when we pour water to it, we will see if somebody looks from here, the coin appears to be raised. Similarly, a swimming pool appears to be shallower than its real depth. Now suppose this is the original depth of the swimming pool, but person looking from top, it may appear that this is the depth. The swimming pool appears to be raised up, the floor. So all these are effects of refraction. Now that can be explained with the help of this diagram. Now suppose this is water and this is air. And suppose this is the bottom of the swimming pool. And suppose in the bottom of the swimming pool, I am just talking about a particular point. There are infinite points, but I am just talking about this one point. So let that point be P. Now if a person is just outside water and wants to see this object, when the person can see this object, we can see any object. So this is the object and this is a person. When light falls on that object and reflects to the person's eyes, then only we can see that object. So anywhere. So if a person is here also, then also light will come and reflect, and then only this person can see this object. So if there is no light falling, the person will not see, and therefore we don't see anything, any object in dark. So here also, if some person is want to see this object, then light from this object will reach to the person's eye, then only that person can see this object. Now how the light will reach from this point to the person's eyes? Now this is water, it's a denser medium, this is air, this is rarer medium, and infinite rays of light from this point is traveling in all direction, and therefore we will just show you two rays of light. Suppose this is one ray of light and this is the normal. Now this is denser to rarer, means it will bend away from normal like this. And suppose another ray of light, again this is the normal, and again away from normal, Now, if a person looks in this, okay, I'm just drawing the diagram properly. Again, see here. So this is water, this is air, this is the ground, and this is the point here, point P. Any ray of light traveling in this way. This is the normal, bending away from normal. Let us take another ray of light, again bending away from normal. So if a person looks from here, according to this person, this object he will see at this position. He will see at this position, because I always traces straight line path. So that means at this position. So just straight, and this is also just straight like this, and this is the position. So this point, the observer can see this point at this level. So you can understand, I have told you there are infinite points, and this happens for every infinite point. So this point P, this point appears to be here, this point appears to be here, this point appears to be here, this point appears to be here. So ultimately what happens? The whole floor of the swimming pool appears to be here, and therefore the swimming pool appears to be shallower. So it looks that the depth is less, but when you get inside, you see the depth is more. So this is again the effects of refraction. Now here this AP is known as the real depth. And this AP dash is known as the apparent depth. Okay. Now so far we have seen there are two formulas for refractive index. One formula is sin I for getting the value of refractive index. Second is again velocity of light in medium 1 and velocity of light in medium 2. And there is a third formula. The third formula means it is the refractive index of denser medium with respect to rarer medium is always equals to real depth by apparent depth. Understand? Okay, so refractive index of the denser medium, because air and water, the denser medium is water. If I say air and glass, the denser medium will be glass. So here, if I want to get the refractive index of water, I will find this AP, the length of the depth of AP and the depth of AP dash. AP means the real depth and AP dash is the apparent depth, and we can get the refractive index of water. Okay, understand? Okay, now look at this example. Now it states that a postage stamp appears to be raised by 3 mm when a glass block is placed over it. And given the refractive index of glass is 1.5, calculate the thickness of the block, thickness of the glass block. Now try to understand what they told. Now suppose this is a table and I have kept a stamp, a postage stamp. Okay, this is a postage stamp. And when I place a glass block over it, this postage stamp appears to be raised up. Just now we have seen, due to refraction, what will happen? The thickness will be less, appears to be less, and the postage stamp appears to be this much raised. How much? 3 millimeter, and they told calculate the thickness of the block. Now, if I take the original thickness of the block Bx, so let the thickness of the glass block be x millimeter, and therefore we can say that real depth of the stamp is x millimeter, and the apparent depth of the stamp pattern is this. This is the apparent depth, and you can understand this is how much? It is x minus 3, so that x minus 3 millimeter. And now simple, refractive index of glass with respect to air is given how much? 1.5. And this refractive index of glass with respect to air actually means what? Real depth, and by apparent depth, and real depth by apparent depth is 1.5. And then if I put x 0.5, and now we can understand, we can cross multiply, and then we can get 15 by 10, and then 5 3s are 5 2s are, we get 2x equals to 3x minus 9, we get 9 is equal to 3x minus 2x, and finally we get x is equal to 9 millimeters. So this is the original thickness of the glass block. Okay. Okay, next is the diffraction of light through a rectangular glass block. This you have done in class 8. Okay, but still. Now this is the incident ray. Say a ray of light is traveling from a glass block. It happens to be bent path. So that what we have to show here. So this is the incident ray again. This is the normal. So I say this is the incident ray. Say I1. And you can understand this is air and this is glass, so rarer to denser, it will bend towards the normal, and this is the original path of the light. But this it will bend inside, bend towards the normal, so it will bend in this way. And again this is the normal here, and again it is glass and it is air, means denser to rarer, so it will bend again away from normal, so it is traveling this way. Okay. So it should be generally parallel with this part. So this is this. So this is I1, and we say angle of emergence. This is as I2. Okay. Generally we write I2. Why? Because principle of reversibility of light. So where light enters from here, this becomes angle of incidence, and if light enters from here, this becomes the angle of incidence. So we mention I1 and I2. Again, this becomes the first angle of refraction at this point. This is the second angle of refraction, so this is R2. So you can understand there is a shift in the path of light. So this is the original path of the light, this is the ray of light, and this should be the original path. But but the light that is emerging out is not coming from this path, it is coming from this path. So that means there is a shift in the path. Then how much is the shift? This is the shift, and this shift is known as lateral shift or lateral displacement. So this distance, so we can say that the perpendicular distance between the incident ray and the emergent ray. So this is the emergent ray and this is the incident ray. The perpendicular distance between the incident ray and the emergent ray is known as lateral displacement. Okay. So this is known as the lateral displacement. Okay, and this lateral displacement depends upon two factors. The first is that it depends upon the thickness of the glass block. Thickness of the glass block. So greater the thickness of the glass block, more is the displacement, more is the lateral displacement. Higher the thickness of the glass block, more is the displacement. And the second is the angle of incidence. Greater the angle of incidence, so this is the angle of incidence, so this is the displacement now. Now if the angle of incidence is greater, then the lateral displacement will also be greater. Understand? So greater the angle of incidence, greater is the lateral displacement. So these are the two factors. The first factor is the thickness of the glass block. Greater the thickness of the glass block, more is the lateral displacement. And second is the angle of incidence. So greater the angle of incidence, more is the lateral displacement. Okay. Okay. Now we will see multiple reflection. That means in fact multiple image in a thick plane mirror. Now suppose imagine this is a plane mirror, but it is thick, a very thick mirror, and this is the silver part. Now in this case what happens, we can see a multiple image, many images. How is that? We can explain. Now suppose this is the object, say A. This is the object. Now you know how images are formed. You have done in reflection in class 9. So ray of light will strike, and you can understand this part is transparent. So the light will enter, but you know some part of the light will reflect. A very small part of the light will reflect, because although it's transparent, but still some reflection occurs. And due to this first reflection, an image will be formed here. But you should understand that this image is a very dull image. Why? Because most of the light will enter, because this is a transparent surface. So when rays of light is striking this first surface of the mirror, only a very little part, only a very less part of the light, say suppose the 10% of light is reflecting, and due to this 10% of light that is reflecting, you are getting the first image, and hence the first image is the dull image. And so accordingly, if this 10% is reflected, so 90% entered here, and it is bending towards the normal, because you know this is air and this is glass, so it is bending towards the normal like this. And when again this ray of light is striking the silver surface, it is getting a strong reflection. Right? Now what happens? So again you see this is transparent. Here also now what happens? Maximum part of the light gets out. Say out of this 90 part, 80 parts gets out, and again 10 parts, some part of the light gets reflected back. And due to this second reflection, you get a second image. And again, since a very small part has been reflected, again it gets a strong reflection here and reflects. Again most part of the light gets out, only a very minimum part enters, and due to this again, so if you extend this again you get a third image, and again here you know it's continuing, you get a fourth image, and like this you get a multiple image. But clearly you can understand from here that this second image will be the brightest image. The second image is the brightest image. If you see this, you can understand. I told you again, you see most part of this is the full part, full light. Out of that full portion of the light, a very small portion of the light gets reflected from this transparent surface, and a maximum part of the light enters this transparent surface. So due to this, a very less part of the light which is getting reflected. Due to this, you get the first image. So first image is dull. And since a maximum part of the light enters the surface, and it gets a strong reflection, and due to this strong reflection again it gets out, most part of the light is getting out, and and bending away from normal, but due to this a second image is formed, and this second image is the brightest image because that has formed from the brightest part of the light. And now if you see subsequently, now if you see, the energy of the light is decreasing, the intensity of the light is decreasing because the most part of the light goes out and a very minimum part is reflected, and as it follows, and light gets out and the image becomes dull and dull and dull. But ultimately the second image is the brightest image. So this is also a very important question. The diagram is also very important. Please practice. Okay.